June 2022 soul story. This is Romy. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is a reading for you. We're going to give you some astrological dates and key intuitive messages to empower you as you move through the weeks ahead. So we're into Gemini season, which is a fellow air sign, and we're going to open up your reading with the energy of the Five of Wands. Now she's keeping all of these flowers really close to her chest, and I feel like I want to say to you, you know, it's a bit like notorious in Gemini season, right, of that sort of loose communication, and I feel like keeping it close, because too much kind of chatter almost like scatters the energy and it starts to attract outside opinion that is going to trigger you because you are triggering others. And I just have this sense of like, we can avoid some of the conflict that we're going to be feeling internally, and also sort of move away from any situations that feel like they're too much drama, just by being a bit more selective about what you decide to share and when you decide to share it, okay? At least until you feel things that are a little bit more seeded in, and the momentum, the energy that's sort of moving around something that you're trying to do or that you've achieved, and it's like, celebrate that for yourself in the moment. There's going to be a time where it feels like it's going to get the opportunity to be aired properly, but I just have this sense in the beginning part of June, as we're still a little bit in the Mercury shadow, it is going to shift direct on the 3rd of the month. But I have this sense that you're going to, you know, if you do say too much to the wrong person, there might be a little bit of regret going on there. Now we have this huge volcano sort of erupting behind her. And I think that there is also for you, with this Jupiter and Mars in Aries in your 7th house of relationships, right? There's just this driving energy, this need to see change, this need for progress. There's a need to move something forward. Now, when we look at 7th house, it's not just those personal romantic relationships. And remember, it's often the kind of disowned parts of ourselves that end up getting reflected back in the key connections in our life. So what we're going to be experiencing with all of that intensity and energy and momentum, like pushing you forward, almost making you slightly obsessive at times and wanting to sort of see the evidence and the kind of the rewards of your investment, if you like showing up in some of those energy exchanges with people in your life, is also going to be a tremendous opportunity for you to deal with some unresolved, like wounded parts of yourself as well. So it's kind of an interesting month where I feel like all of us are being incredibly triggered in lots of different ways. And if you embrace that, it can be a tremendous opportunity to really kind of break free and to liberate yourself from things that have sat in your energy field and really been a source of conflict for you for some time, and inevitably have held you back from moving more deeply into some of the relationships that are important to you, maybe finding that sense of intimacy or openness that's required in order to really allow the growth to take place. I think this month it's going to be about consistency. It's going to be about candor, as in being super direct and frank and honest with yourself and others. But it's also about celebration, Libra. Like, I have a feeling that you have to figure out how you're going to be rewarding yourself for all of the effort and investment you're making in different areas of your life. Because if you don't, then soon enough you're going to tire of that sort of relentless feeling of constantly having to show up and put investment in. And here's the thing, like, sometimes if we're looking at this from a relationship perspective, and we've got the Knight of Cups here, and it feels like, you know, you've got something so significant to offer, like what you're putting on the table, it's like, it's really the best of what you've got, it's all that you have to give. And we don't always get that reciprocal energy exchange straight away, because sometimes people may be going through different things in their own journey right now. And so there's this feeling I have in June that there's a little bit of like lost in translation, and it's going to have you starting to doubt and starting to question, is this worth it? This is the question that keeps coming up. Is this worth it? So this might come up professionally, it might come up personally in friendships, in romantic relationships. But in that moment, what I really need you to be asking yourself, right, is your energy open, right? Is your expression and how you're coming across, is it rooted from a place of love? And are you detached from the outcome? And if the answer to all of those things is yes, then you have to keep going, because there's something here of tremendous value, and you have to allow that other individual or other parties involved to catch you up when they're meant to. And if they're not meant to, then this is a month where we start to see the universe like almost like putting things in a new order and reshuffling things so that the right people are going to start to respond to that vibrational energy that you're putting out. You have to relentlessly believe in your own potential this month. And again, it's about the reward that you maybe need. Like, say, for example, you've invested really heavily into a specific relationship and that person isn't giving you back the same. How can you balance that out by giving to yourself in a different way? So giving yourself the reward, even if it's not come from the place or the source that you want it to, is a way to kind of balance out your own energy so that you don't move into a place of resentment, that you don't move into a place of expectation. And then you end up like pinching yourself off and holding yourself back from the very things that you're actually wanting and making all this progress towards. So that Knight of Cups, you know, we have water energy there, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, which might be relevant. But I honestly feel it's about the proposals, the offers, the invitations, and really kind of what you're prepared to put into something. Now, the Ten of Swords comes through and says, again, this reminder, like, don't move into victim energy. Why is this not happening for me? Why am I like working twice as hard as everybody else and it's not showing up? Why is this person not seeing my value? Now, it's interesting. We've actually got the full moon in Sagittarius coming in on the 14th of the month, activating that second house of value for you. Your value consciousness lit up there. And of course, at full moon, we want to surrender, we want to let go, we want to release something. And I think that Ten of Swords is going to help you to do that in relation to what your expectations are around value, so that you can kind of readdress something in terms of abundance for yourself. Remember, Venus in Taurus right now as well, that full sensory experience coming in, and she loves to sit in the sign of Taurus. But we are reevaluating like what's happening in terms of our relationship to money and our relationship in those loving personal relationships that we have as well. So yes, is there an ending sometimes with the Ten of Swords? Absolutely, but I'm not really picking it up in the context of that for your reading this month. Rather, I feel like there's something that's done, and there's no need for you to keep pouring more energy into it. There's no need for you to keep talking about it in a certain way that isn't actually supporting the change that you're looking for. So, you know, allow yourself to kind of recognize where you might slip into that energy. And the consistency that we're looking for here is that you are consistently looking towards the things that you do want. The candor is the honesty of saying, do you know what? I'm really getting in my own way here. And okay, I might not be able to be in control of what this other person is interpreting about my actions or what I feel I need or what I'm saying I want. But I can go ahead and celebrate and honor and respect and value myself in this way and this way and this way. So we have both Saturn and Neptune also shifting retrograde this month. Saturn on the 4th and Neptune on the 28th. So we have to revisit some boundaries. We have to revisit some commitments. We have to revisit how we're going to attain some of those longer term visions we're looking at. But we're also, with Neptune, stripping away the illusions. We take those rose-colored glasses off and all of a sudden we see things for what they truly are. So a good dose of like healthy kind of practical reality is going to help you actually, because I think it will enable you to withdraw your energy from things that it's not that they're not right for you or that they can't happen, but I feel your best place perhaps in ensuring that you're investing in something that's a bit more immediate and that's going to support you in the here and now. And that is the direct pathway that can actually lead to more things coming in to help the bigger dreams that you have, if you like. And we're not losing any of the heart and the passion, because as we said, we've got this Jupiter and Mars and Aries like driving through, and you know, your ability to be able to find partnerships and truly meaningful connections and unions that are actually demonstrating the same level of energy as you do in the things that you're trying to achieve for yourself. That's possible for you over these next few weeks, and especially with Jupiter working in that sign all the way through into 2023. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is our consistency. This is also the energy of that says, do I really have to go back around and do this again? Have I not learned this? Like, I'm really tired of this. I feel I need something different. I need a change. So there's something that you're feeling really bored of. I feel there's a sense of, sort of mundaneness that's getting in the way. That's why I say to you that having your rewards, knowing the things that are going to give you some respite and just make this worthwhile for yourself, even if it's like non-related in a totally different area of your life, it's really going to help facilitate things. Now, again, that Knight of Pentacles is coming through with an offer. So this is also a month where I feel like a lot of people are showing up, a lot of people are demonstrating interest in you. That might come through romantically for some of you if that's where your focus is, but for others it could be offers and invitations and proposals that are coming in by way of how can I help progress you? How can I help facilitate an introduction? There's like a networking thing that's starting to be explored here. And I would encourage you to look further afield, because as we have 9th house illuminated in Gemini season for you, there's something about the overseas links, the foreign links, that can really start to get you thinking, and sort of the creative juices like feel much more inspiring, because all of a sudden you're seeing things in a totally different way, like sort of culturally, or how things are done. There's new approaches, and I do think you need some of that freshness to come in just to help, keep you motivated in some regards. Now, it's important that you don't ignore mixed signals, is what they're coming through with, okay? This is exactly going to tell you like where people are not ready, or something isn't ready, like the energy's just not quite aligned yet. And I feel like you may make a decision to just, and I will say temporarily, like move away or just let something be. That 6 of Swords is just giving us some movement and some quietness and some distance. Now, you may feel a bit of emotional distance from somebody, or you yourself may be the one to withdraw a little bit. And perhaps that might be connected to the fact that if we do have something that feels like it's constantly being lost in translation, careful of the text messages this month, Libra. I don't know, want to just say that. I just feel like if you're going to start to make choices and decisions about key relationships in your life based on what's been said through text, it's not going to serve you well, right? So be able to sort of draw on that candor, like pick up the phone or meet the person direct, have a proper conversation to really understand like what the intention was, what the meaning and the communication that was truly trying to be expressed. And you again are going to avoid some of those potential arguments, conflict or drama from getting any bigger than they need to be. Now, on the 10th and the 11th, we have some positive energies that are sort of rooted in the element of earth. We've got Mercury trining Pluto on the 10th. Mercury will be in Taurus, Pluto's in Capricorn, and then the next day we have Venus in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So here we have the opportunity for some really surprising encounters, very important people showing up, people that have something to say, that have information or offers that can be quite transformative. It may come about in a kind of unusual or unexpected energy, okay, so keep an eye for that. But again, connected into things to do with love and money, with Venus there conjunct to Uranus, and how you communicate feels quite significant. So what you have to say, what somebody else has to say, those conversations are really progressive. So it's excellent in terms of anything sort of professional or business related around that time as well for you, okay? So just keep an eye out for that. So we have Mercury shifting into Gemini on the 13th, just ahead of that full moon. And I suppose I want to say, just again, be mindful of what you want to say and what you want to share with whom. It's real easy, right now there's a culture where everything and everyone is given a diagnosis of who they are, what type they are, what archetype they are, what this they are, what that they are. And it's just, we're allowing ourselves more and more and more to be put into these boxes. And hands up, even me doing these soul stories every month, right? It's like, what's your star sign? So what we need to make sure is that you are operating from a place of, what is my true essence right now? We've all got our stuff to deal with. Life is not perfect. None of us are perfect. We're all working through things, but the overuse of some of these labels at the moment doesn't feel helpful in the context of you figuring out on a more natural, intuitive level what it is that you need, because you're not just one thing, you're thousands of things, you know, you're so complex in your layers of energy, and we don't want it any other way. Your Nine of Cups is bringing through this alignment to what matters to you. You know, where are your desires getting ignited? What's important? Now we have this gorgeous solstice energy coming in this month on the 21st, when the sun shifts into Cancer. And she's sitting here almost in a very sort of sacred ritual, looking at these gorgeous lotus flowers that have emerged up and now sit on the surface. So I think there's a recognition of some of the endurance and some of the more challenging things that you've had to go through recently, and that it kind of marks a time where you get to draw a line a little bit and you allow that earth natural cycle to recalibrate you and balance you. I think it's important that you recognize that no one thing is going to kind of satisfy the whole of you. So you almost need all these different aspects of your life. You need different people to connect to in different ways. Now this gorgeous bird is holding the heart here. And it's almost like who have you given your heart to? Who have you sort of given that precious part of your energy? Something around that kind of solstice is helping you to find a state of acceptance, maybe about how you feel. Sometimes we go through an awful lot of conflict because it's like, you know, is this person right for me, or is this relationship meant for me? Because it shouldn't be so difficult, it shouldn't be so challenging. But there's just something about you coming into a deeper state of awareness, and I think more on a psychic intuitive level this month, that your contract, your soul contract, what you said you would want to experience, the themes that are playing out for you, are dictating that some of these more challenging experiences right now with certain individuals are here to help you learn and to develop and to grow. And yes, you can absolutely check out, absolutely. And especially if those situations are so toxic or harmful, then absolutely we'd never advocate for you to stay. But at the same time, if you keep withdrawing and if you keep moving on and moving on and moving on, you're just going to keep coming back around the same types of situations. So staying the course and allowing yourself to really observe, even if it's at a distance, because that Six of Swords says that maybe you just need to take some time for yourself to say, well, actually, you know, how am I showing up in regards to this situation right now? And what do I need to do to balance myself out a little bit more so that it hasn't become the single focus in my life? Because there's this kind of energy of slight obsessiveness that's sort of permeating through June, that if we're not careful, we can kind of get locked into a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I feel it's much lighter than the energy that we've experienced through eclipse season. But I think because there's such a imperative sort of directive on your part to get something progressed, or to get something to where it needs to be, that it can end up sort of have you looking for shortcuts and looking for ways to sort of force or push the energy a little bit, and we don't need to do that in any regards. So the Sun in Cancer and solstice energy, I think, is also an opportunity for you to sort of take some thought about what is it that I really want to bring out in the world. Because as we shift into that energy of Cancer, we have the 10th house lit up. So there's a strong focus and emphasis around your career and the work that you do, how you're showing up in the community, the legacy that you want to leave. And the Six of Cups is indicating here that there's almost a returning to something from the past, a memory, an idea, even a relationship or a connection that's perhaps been a huge source of inspiration for you. And as part of that, there's also a requirement here to reconnect to inner child, because that part of us has to be soothed and nurtured and loved and honoured and respected, so that we feel worthy and deserving to be able to take those big power leaps and to be confident and assertive in the things that we're about to do. Okay? There's something burning in you this month, Libra, something that you're yearning for. It's kind of eating away at you is what the guides are saying to me. So what is that, and what does it need from you? I feel like you need to give yourself some time and space to sort of return back to something that you may have felt like, I'll have to get to that. There's no time, or I don't have the energy. But you are going to you are going to be given a little bit of space this month in June to sort of really sit with that, because I think there's something deeper to it that's going to really help to liberate you and give you a sense of freedom, and actually bring a little bit of almost innocence back into the way that you view the world. Now that might sound crazy to some of you in the backdrop of what's happening, but this is where we get to properly unplug from the collective consciousness, and we have to, because there is so many merry-go-round storylines and, you know, activation and fueling of fear on every single level, that if you haven't learned that if you don't unplug, that, you know, your nervous system is just not going to be able to maintain any sense of centeredness and balance. So your Five of Swords says, as much as the setbacks and disappointments and the energy that feels really undesirable and of very low vibration is all around you, we can actually still use this as a firm focus of what we do not want, what we do not aspire to, what we do not align with, what we do not agree to. And that in itself, again, helps to just kind of fuel that fire within you. And I think that's important. Fives, of course, are an indication that there is challenge that we need to deal with. So you've got a couple of them showing up in this reading. But through that adversity, we become more. We find something out about ourselves. And I do think that's another important part of your month ahead, Libra. I think you're finding something out that you didn't really truly know about yourself or really respect in a way that you're about to, okay? Because I think that it's going to give you cause to be able to be more committed to living your life in a certain way moving forward. And I think you'll probably look back and be like, you know, June may have felt in the totality of the year like maybe more muted in some aspects, but actually some of the decisions and the choices that you make are going to end up being absolutely instrumental in sort of how they're going to be opening up the pathways and kind of what comes in next, you know. So the 22nd, we will then see Venus shifting into Gemini. So again, all of this air energy speaks the same language as you, and it will be supportive. The balancing of our hearts and minds is so important in the month of June. Now you have the energy of the moon coming through. It does link into the sign of Pisces. The full moon, of course, is going to be a time where we're trying to balance out, especially in Gemini season, this duality within us, you know, this light and shadow, and the triggering that we're all feeling, you know, is really sort of bringing to bear like a lot of those things that keep us up at night. It's the anxiety and the fear and the unknown. But at the same time, what we're seeing here is that if we dive into it, there's a deeper sense of calm than you've ever had before. And you might have all of the anxiety and the fear when you're aware of it. So the acute awareness of actually what's happening at any given moment in your thought forms is really quite extraordinary. And the way that you're starting to perceive that should be demonstrating to you the amount of growth that's happening within yourself through this through this year and really this time. And that's something to, again, celebrate, to give yourself credit for, because even if you've made a fraction of an improvement in how you respond to something from what you did last week, last month, last year, then that's sign enough of the immeasurable amount of shift that you're making in your energy field. So keep going in that regard is what I want to say. Now, the moon does also suggest that there's something that's still yet to be revealed. And I think there's going to be, on your part, almost a little bit of frustration, because I think, again, like intuitively, psychically, you're going to be feeling there's something coming. There's something that I'm going to be shown, or that is going to happen, or someone's about to show up in my life. And it's just like you're feeling the energy so strongly, and it's not here. And it's not here. And then you start to doubt yourself a little bit. I just need you to not doubt yourself. I just need you to let go of the timing, let go of the outcome. Again, go back and ask yourself, is my energy open? Is what I'm saying about myself, about what's happening in my life, rooted in love? If the answer is yes, then everything is on course. And soon enough, that moon will move, that haze will lift. And what comes from that, I think, is set to sort of give you an enormous amount of validation. enormous amount of validation. Now we do have the new moon in Cancer coming in on the 28th, on the same day that Neptune shifts retrograde. So it's going to be a very sensitive, emotional moment that you're going to be experiencing at the end of the month. Your oracle card is Metamorphosis. Beautiful. We have these flamingos kind of playing out a dance with one another, and they are in union and harmony, which does again suggest to me that even if there's some struggle and conflict in relation to some specific people in your life, that actually you're about to go through quite a powerful shift and change in regards to that, and it will be made all the clearer as to perhaps why you had to endure it, or why you were almost compelled to sort of take some time away, or to have a break, or to kind of just have that quietness, so that when you come back in, it's both on the right level. So beautiful sense of something transforming really positively in relation to a connection or a union, and that feels just like really uplifting actually. And I think not before time, because I feel like maybe it's been on the cards for a while to start to sort of see the results or the evidence of this. Well, it's coming. Okay, your astrology card is Neptune. Well, okay, so Neptune, of course, retrograde on the 28th. And it is about the way in which you are allowing the formation, I think, of clear, guided, inspired action to facilitate the hopes and the dreams and the ambitions and the beautiful artistry and the creativity. So it's like we're pulling it all down from the stars and we're rooting it in, because what we are able to do in retrograde is strip away the illusion and the delusion of things, and we get really real with ourselves. And I think that's going to be helpful for you this month. Like, let's get real with where we are. Let's take stock. What's working? What isn't? What do I need to do? What is the action that I feel inspired to take? It's still about staying in flow and harmony with yourself. Absolutely. That's the only way it's going to work. But at the same time, I think there's just this sort of movement out of this victim energy and just feeling like you're taking back control and taking back charge of your situation. So I really love that for you. But the creative burst of energy coming in here as well, especially when it's coming from a place in the heart, and the heart is really like guiding you and leading you. Some really incredible things can be achieved and realized, and you can bring form to them. So stay optimistic and positive in that regard as well. Okay, I want to just give you a quick preview of my new Oracle deck, Life Soul Vision. So it's now available for pre-order. It's going to be here with us at the end of July. Thank you so much if you have already supported me, but I just wanted to give you a preview of some of the cards here. I was hoping to be able to do a reading, but we're not quite there. So maybe next month I shall be able to do that. And you can find all of the details in the comment section, the description box underneath. And there's a full preview of the deck as well over on my website if you haven't already seen it. So super excited to be able to do a reading with this. The guidebook is really comprehensive, guys. It's like giving a visual description of the card. We've got the card meaning. I talk about things in the light and in the shadow. And we give you a soul affirmation as well. So thank you so much. Right, so this is our general reading for the month of June. What I'm going to do is invite you to think about a personal question that might not have been answered in the main card spread, okay? We're going to pull a couple of cards for you now in relation to that, Libra. Now, of course, you can find the link for the extended version in the description and comment section underneath. If you're new to the channel, this is a way to support my work and also to have another 25 minutes or so of insights, like a second reading into the month ahead, and I appreciate so much those of you that feel resonant to join me. So let's go ahead and clarify this main spread. We're going to begin with the Five of Wands, and by the way, all the decks that I use you will find again in the description box underneath. Okay, so we have the Three of Wands, we have the Sun, beautiful, and the King of Swords coming in here. We have another Six of Cups, beautiful. This is the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Swords. Oh, we've got another moon there. Another Five of Wands. Ace of Wands there. Chariot. Okay, we have the Three of Pentacles. Empress. Look at all that rich creative energy that we saw. Okay, we have the Tower. Remember, we are stripping away the illusions, which means that the universe has to work in all sorts of different ways to release us from the hypnosis that has been placed on us. Jester of Gardens is the Page of Pentacles, okay? So you've got the Six of Pentacles. You also got the Hanged Man coming in there. More Neptune energy. I think you're going to be literally under absolutely no illusion as to people and their motives and their agendas and the reality of situations after you come out of June. Okay, let's have a look at this Moon. Two of Wands. Seven of Swords. Hierophant. Okay. All right, Libra, I'm going to leave it there. If you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation. Otherwise, you have a blessed month of June. Thank you so much for tuning in. You take care.